This is a talk I gave to business owners and senior managers at a presentation about your business and your health. So healthy you, healthy business. And I'd like to talk about your life and your health versus your livelihood from a functional medicine perspective, arguing the case for personalised healthcare. My name is Simone Buehner. I'm Director of 360 Health Consultancy Limited. I'm also a Senior Associate at the Royal Society of Medicine, a member of the British Acupuncture Council, as well as being a member for the Institute of Functional Medicine. And you can see here from my added interests and qualifications that my background is in Chinese medicine, nutritional therapy, permaculture, and I've owned a business in Chinese medicine since 2007, but recently set up 360 Health Consultancy alongside that. Prior to working in healthcare, I worked in the corporate environment for about 10 years for multinational companies, working on a global level, flying around different countries doing HR and training for the HR departments. And so that gave me a unique insight into both how business works at a high level and also how healthcare works. So I've brought those experiences and thoughts together in this presentation. There's a really interesting quotation from the British Medical Journal in 2019. Preventing and managing chronic diseases would reduce the cost of healthcare and spur economic growth. That really struck me in 2020 because obviously with the global pandemic, we have a need to move on from the COVID-19 pandemic to a situation where we can become healthier as well as wealthier. As small business owners, you do play a critical role in the post-COVID recovery. This piece from an evidence briefing by the BCRS says that small to medium enterprises contributed 47% of annual turnover to the UK economy in 2016. However, that has now, i.e. in 2019, increased to £2 trillion, which is 52% of the economy. The relative importance of small businesses is increasing, with these businesses making up 16.3 million. That's 60% of total private sector jobs. Now, let's take this quotation in context. This was August 2019, before anybody had any inkling of the pandemic. So if small businesses occupy 60% of private sector jobs and contribute 52% or more to the UK economy, then we can see that small businesses are going to be absolutely critical for the post-COVID recovery. There's a lot of talk about life versus livelihood at the moment, and that's because on the one hand people argue that we need to close down and lock down businesses and homes so that people can remain safe from the virus. But on the other hand, closing businesses means that there's another wave of mental health problems and stress-related problems due to the financial hardship that people find themselves in. And so I want to ask the question, can you really separate your health from your wealth or your financial success? According to the Labour Force survey, 498,000 workers suffering from work-related musculoskeletal disorders, either new or long-standing. That was in 2018 or 19. 6.9 million working days were lost due to work-related musculoskeletal disorders in the same time. 1.4 million workers suffered from work-related ill health, according to the Health and Safety Executive. That was in 2018-19. And work-related stress, depression or anxiety accounts for 44% of work-related ill health and 54% of working days lost, again in 2018-19, according to the Health and Safety Executive. And tragically, 1 in 10 small business owners were contemplating suicide, according to a small business survey on the 28th of May 2020. So that last figure is in fact during the COVID lockdown. But if you look at all of these statistics, they're mind-boggling, and they all show that workers are suffering from work-related physical or mental health problems, depression, anxiety, stress, musculoskeletal problems. And so if somebody is working under those conditions, how can they be as effective and financially productive as you would want them to be? So, according to the Institute of Directors, they say that investing in health most certainly can generate wealth. Mental health, this is a quotation from the Institute of Directors, mental health is one of the greatest causes of sickness absence in the UK. Yet for every £1 invested in well-being, there is a potential to generate a return of between £1.50 and £9. So, ensuring that employees are mentally thriving ultimately enables businesses to thrive too. But there's a dilemma here, isn't there? Because we've got life and health versus livelihood and wealth. On the one hand, there's the personal health and safety of everybody threatened by the COVID-19 pandemic. But on the other hand, all the COVID risk management strategies are on high alert at your business. On the one hand, you think, well, if I get sick, how long will my business survive? But on the other, the business needs 100% of your attention in order to remain viable. A good night's sleep is central to all healing and recovery. And yet, at work, you need to work long hours to cope with extremes of either unprecedented demand for your business or a total slump in sales. The prolonged stress is, of course, the enemy of all bodily functions: digestion, sleep, reproduction, elimination, emotional balance. And yet, what have you got at work during the COVID pandemic? You've got extreme stress. So all of these concerns that are demanding the attention of business owners are diametrically opposed. If you're looking after your life and health, it would appear that you're putting your livelihood and wealth second to that. So how are we coping? Okay, what I would like to do now is look at the standard care model, which is to maintain homeostasis. Okay, so the standard way of things happening currently in the UK is we've got this person here, in this case it's a doctor, a high pressure job, working long hours, and probably because of those long hours you're eating convenience food, grabbing a meal on the go, and quite possibly having caffeine regularly, a good coffee to wake you up in the morning and keep you going throughout the day. And most of the time when people work like that, they think, okay, I'll just do this for a few years and then I'll have a family or focus on family life. And then, maybe there'll be some socializing weekends or in the evenings. There's alcohol involved. And so there's kind of a bit of a self-medication thing going on really with caffeine and alcohol. But then as this high pressure, long hours situation continues, you reach a situation where you start to become stressed. You feel stressed yourself, but also your body becomes physiologically stressed as well. Your sleep may deteriorate and you start to catch colds easily. And this could be highlighted, for example, in somebody who's maybe a salesman who makes these quick phone calls. When have you ever said this? Just, hey, it's a quick hello to say that I've just got to the hotel. I'm about to head down for dinner with a client. Love you. That simple sentence tells us so much. This is somebody who is away from the people they love. Everything's got to be quick. They're in a rush. They're going down for dinner with a client. Well, that's not going to be a relaxed way of eating. And they're at a hotel. Chances are they're not going to sleep as well in a hotel as they would do at home. And also it tells you that that person has been traveling a lot. There's an awful lot of small business owners who would relate to a conversation like this. It just becomes the norm. And so maybe this person, in addition to having the caffeine and alcohol, maybe they smoke to try and calm their nerves a bit more. And before you know, we've gone around in this circle where the lack of sleep leads to low energy, the poor diet starts leading to acid reflux, and again, just the stress and the tiredness leads to irritability. And so then conversations, oh yeah, the person would be taking omeprazole, of course, for acid reflux, because everybody is put on omeprazole these days. And this person just might be irritable, why can't you see that I'm busy? And they'll say things to their family like, hey, I'm doing this for us, just give me a few years to focus on the job, I'll get the money coming in, I'm doing it for us, I'm doing it for our family. Why can't you see that? Why can't you understand that? And then, of course, the situation doesn't improve because the stress hasn't gone away. And you will notice that that person has perhaps started to put on weight. They're becoming pre-diabetic. Maybe the doctor has given them a bit of a warning saying, you know what, you're heading towards diabetes here. And then when they get home, there's a loss of libido. They're tired, they're irritable, and that starts to impact their family life. Because of the weight gain, they might start to get backache and knee pains and start taking painkillers. And then they just think, you know what, actually this isn't great. I really ought to go to the gym. I'm going to shape up. Or if they haven't got a relationship, they think, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym, sort myself out, meet someone special. But, oh, you know what, I'm a bit busy at the moment. I'll do it next month when I've got a bit more time. But I do intend to do it. But the situation goes on, maybe they need to start taking Viagra, maybe they need sleeping pills. And over time, all of this can start lead to headaches, and the poor sleep then becomes insomnia. They start getting palpitations and maybe anxiety attacks because there's a feeling of losing control. And then they'll just think, it'll be all right. I'll just have a nap and then I'll be fine. Or I'll get a decent sleep this weekend. I haven't got any work to do this weekend, so I'll have a lie-in and I'll get a decent sleep. And they really think that that is going to break this whole cycle. Okay, but in reality, they'll perhaps take some more aspirin to get rid of headaches and perhaps ease the palpitations. And you know what? Are these people, they're in your work, okay? They're functional, but they're not creative. Their work is satisfactory, but it's not innovative. And so do you ask yourself this, are you getting value for money by employing people who are in this state? Is your business as profitable as it could be if you or anyone else is functioning at this level? Would your personal income be higher if you had more energy and less stress? Okay, so let's look then at what happens. Again, this is the standard healthcare model. This is what's going on right now in British society. So we've got this vicious circle. We are providing medication to people to get them to keep going and to maintain homeostasis. So let's continue to follow this round, okay? The high pressure job and the long hours, what was caffeine, just a coffee to keep me going, becomes excessive caffeine intake. What was 1 or 2 drinks in the evening becomes excessive need for alcohol. The smoking becomes excessive smoking. So these little habits that people have, such as drinking coffee or having a glass of wine in the evening and smoking to relax, can often be quite insidious and grow without us realizing, but it is still a form of self-medication. But then we get to the more serious side of things, where if you've been on sleeping pills, everybody knows that after a week or so you need a higher dose of sleeping pills to create the same effect. And then what was perhaps regarded as being pre-diabetic before, as time goes on, people develop type 2 diabetes because of the poor eating habits, because of the weight gain, because of the lack of exercise and the stress. And then the doctor ends up putting them on metformin. And then the painkillers become stronger painkillers, which is where the opioid crisis has started to come from. And then people, of course, end up on antidepressants because this is not a happy place to be. This is not somebody who feels happy, healthy, and full of life. And so the antidepressants kick in, and then, of course, aspirin then turns into statins as they start to experience high blood pressure. worse headaches, worse palpitations. And so before you know it, all the self-medication then starts turning into real medication and things that are far more serious and have a more lasting effect and often bad side effects on your body. So if we continue with this vicious circle of events, what is that going to lead to? Instead of just low productivity at work, you're going to find chronic stress will develop into other situations. People will then go on sick leave or long-term sick leave. Their immunity will be weakened, so bugs and things start spreading around the office very quickly and easily. Mistakes are made because people are not focusing properly. They're tired, they have brain fog. And then the irritability and anger management issues start spilling over into the workplace, creating a bad atmosphere at work. And then we end up with more serious situations, so diabetic neuropathy and retinopathy, and angina. And people end up with hip and knee replacements as well because of the excess weight that they're carrying around sometimes. And of course, in more extreme scenarios, there is a very much increased risk of heart attack and stroke. Now, in 20 years of healthcare, I have not yet met a patient who is suffering from a statin deficiency or an omeprazole deficiency. It's the true cost to your business, by the way. The UK has 15% lower production levels than other G7 countries, and that is due to mental health problems. This is according to an independent government review called Thriving at Work that was conducted in 2019. 15% lower production levels than the other G7 countries, and yet we pride ourselves on having a free healthcare service. So there is something here that is not adding up. And I'd like to show you another way of working. So we'll still continue with this cycle of events, okay? But with functional medicine, I want to show you a disease care disruptor. Okay, everything up to this point has been about disease care, not healthcare at all. So you have a high pressure job, you're working long hours, that hasn't changed. But what can we do here? We can interrupt this cycle with early intervention laboratory tests to find out whether you are coping with the level of stress that you are currently under. That's called an HPA stress profile. It's a very simple saliva test that measures hormones in your saliva. We can also measure whether you're getting enough sleep, because that is when your body has a chance to restore itself and regenerate and rejuvenate. And that test is called a cortisol awakening response. So cortisol is one of your main stress hormones, and we want to look at the balance between cortisol and melatonin. Are you waking up at the right time and feeling energetic? And then are you feeling sleepy at the right time and having a good, restorative, profound sleep? These can be tested with a very simple saliva test that can be sent to you at home. And then the courier will pick it up, take it off to the lab, analyze it, and then we have a discussion about what to do when we get the results. Now, the answer for what to do, obviously you can't just resign from your job. And you can't necessarily control all the stressors in your life. And so I work with clients to show you how to cope with the stress that you're under and how to help your body adapt physiologically. So the way we do that is with a personalized nutrition plan, maybe dietary supplements. There could be an element of meditation and mindfulness. There could be an exercise routine introduced. So all of these lifestyle medicine options that can be introduced into your life. Now, I'd like to point out at this point that many of these might sound airy-fairy to somebody who's not used to living that way, but they alter your hormonal state. Whatever you think about generates those hormones. So if you are thinking about food and what you're going to eat in the evening, your tummy starts rumbling because it's telling your body's getting these signals saying, oh, food, yes, that's a good idea, and it stimulates your digestive juices. If you watch a film that generates, that's, I don't know, a horror film, you start to feel the fear as though you were there. And so the hairs stick up on the back of your neck, your muscles tense up. There is a hormonal response to whatever is going on around you, and that is affecting your health physiologically. And so with lifestyle medicine, we introduce interventions to increase your awareness of what's happening inside your body and to change it. Okay, but let's say we're still going around this circle, okay, and the situation is becoming more serious and we haven't intervened at this early stage. So what else can be done? Well, here, if you've got somebody who's stressed, they're not sleeping very well, and they're starting to catch bugs easily, the kind of person who says, oh yeah, I always get a cold in September or in the winter, I catch every bug going, but it's okay, you know, only lasts a few weeks, and yeah, maybe it comes back a few weeks later, but it's okay, that's just what happens every winter. Okay, let me tell you that that's not okay, and it's not normal, or it certainly shouldn't be normal. And there is yet another simple saliva test that we can conduct called a secretory IgA test, which measures immunoglobulin. It's a measurement that indicates how your immune system is functioning. So it is not a full test that I would do to see how strong somebody's immunity is, but it's a very good indicator because it's a very quick and easy test. And if the hormones are wrong in your saliva, then it tells us that there's a very strong likelihood that your immunity has been weakened. So again, we can use nutritional interventions to strengthen your immunity. Your food can be your medicine if you know how to use it as such. So here we go round to somebody now. We're getting to the situation where he's probably been given omeprazole, he's putting on weight, he's got acid reflux, maybe pre-diabetic or diabetic, the weight gain is happening. What I would do at this stage is a metabolic analysis. I want to know what is going on in this person's gut. And this is where it links back to the secretory IgA test with regard to immunity, because 70% of your immunity is dependent upon your gut microbiome. Okay, how much of the good bacteria there is and how much of the bad bacteria there is. And so if we can measure this and measure any overgrowth in your gut, then we can see what is out of balance, what you are at risk of, and what can be done to put it right. And this SIBO test here, that stands for small intestine bacterial overgrowth. It's not been very widely discussed in the UK, but it has very recently been recognised in America. And many people who have discomfort, whether it's bloating or a rumbly tummy, or just feels that they get indigestion a lot of the time, they just feel uncomfortable in their stomach without having any explicit allergies or anything wrong with them per se, it's very likely that they have a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Now that test is a simple breath test. Again, it can be done at home. We can send you the lab testing kits out. You do the breath test at home. There's full instructions included, and a courier will come and pick it up and take it off to the lab for you. And if that's identified that you've got a bacterial overgrowth, or that you've got a serious imbalance in your gut bacteria, then there is a lot that we can do about it. And I would say that having a comprehensive gut analysis along with these tests is something that we should all have done annually to assess our health, because it's in these key tests that we get the warnings before the symptoms arise. Now that to me is a healthcare system. Let's measure your current state of health, and if there's anything getting slightly out of balance, let's put it right at this stage before you start experiencing symptoms. But let's carry on round the circle and see, with other issues that we raised, it could be that you need a chronic fatigue test. It could be that you need a leaky gut profile done. Again, that's going to have a huge effect on your immunity, on many chronic health problems, on autoimmune problems, Crohn's disease, IBS, fibromyalgia, all of this, we really want to start looking at these tests that we can do. And then there are various sex hormone profiles that we can do for men and for women, whether you're at the stage of life where you want to conceive and you haven't been falling pregnant and don't have any obvious reason why, or maybe there are repeated miscarriages. All sorts of reproductive issues can arise because of this vicious circle of events. And so there are many different tests that we can do to measure sex hormones. Or it could be at the other end of the scale, if a lady is experiencing menopausal problems, there are tests that we can do to measure your hormone levels and see, are you premenopausal, perimenopausal, postmenopausal, and where are your symptoms coming from and what can we do about them. Okay, and really I want to really highlight that all of the interventions with functional medicine are natural to start off with. So we'd be asked to keep a food diary. You may be put on either a detox plan or an elimination diet. We could recommend acupuncture or exercise. Digital detox is an important one. Hobbies are also important. Again, when you are doing your hobbies, it's going to alter your mental state, it's going to alter your hormonal state, and unfortunately too many of us have set our hobbies aside now, and we say we don't have time for them, or we're too tired, or whatever it may be. But it's actually really important to have something to counterbalance the levels of stress that we're under. And talking of stress, meditation and mindfulness are also going to be a very important consideration, as is any type of spiritual practice that you may have. So functional medicine is totally non-denominational, but mind, body, spirit and emotions are all four key components. So whatever you may believe in, it is important to have the balance of not just your physical health, not just your mental health, but also your emotional and spiritual well-being. So this is a disease care disruptor, and I would call it a healthcare system. So that's all been a bit heavy. Let's have a look at it like this, okay? I'm just wondering, ask yourself now, what car do you drive and how does it make you feel? For a lot of people, their cars are their status symbols, aren't they? So how much money do you spend on your car each month in order to feel like that and in order to have your status? Is your car just something functional to get you from A to B? Do you look after it, or is it something that really is an extension of your personality and makes you feel in a particular way? If you've got a sports car, have you got a posh, expensive car? Okay, and what do you do to look after your car? Do you have an oil change regularly? Do you take it to be valeted regularly? Do you give it a quick hose down? Looking at how you treat your car. And so if the oil light comes on in your car, what do you do about it? Okay, oh, quick, we need to change the oil. You get the warning sign and you respond to it. If the fuel gauge gets low, what do? You say, hey, I need to find a fuel station right away because otherwise I'm going to break down somewhere. And it's time for the MOT. Yep, already booked in. So you've got your MOT, you need to get that annual check done on your car, so it's booked in, you know where you're going to take it, and you know what to expect, what they're going to do, what they're going to check and what they're not going to check. Oh my goodness, if there's black smoke billowing out of your exhaust, what are you going to do about that? You're going to book it into the garage urgently. Or if it's not running smoothly or slowing down for any reason, you're going to book it into the best garage and get a complete service done on it. Okay, so there's your car. Let's have a look now at what happens in your body. Okay, so we've got somebody working hard here. He's got a headache. Well, quick, where's the paracetamol? Because you've got to carry on working, haven't you? So just make sure you've got some paracetamol or some aspirin to hand. And if your tummy rumbles, oh, sorry, I haven't got any time to eat. I need to just keep on going. I'll eat later. I've got to get this work just finished now. Annual health check? What's that? Or at best, yeah, I probably should do that sometime. And anybody who's watching this now, I would say to you, when was the last time that you had a well woman or a well man check? When was the last time you had a cervical smear? When was the last time you had a mammogram? Okay, annual health checks are one of the things that the NHS does that is about health and preserving your health. Please do not delay these health checks. Please make sure that you get them done in a timely manner so that anything can be preempted before it becomes a problem. So if you've got diarrhea, constipation, flatulence, what do you do about that? Well, sometimes it happens. It'll go away on its own. That's what a lot of people say. Or worse still, yeah, well, I'm a bloke. Or, oh dear, yes, that's, they can become a bit of a competition sometimes. So people make a joke of it and laugh about it. But actually, maybe your body's trying to tell you something. And then you've got aches and pains and you're slowing down, well, guess what? Can't help it. Oh, it's just part of getting older. I'm just getting old. That's what I hear so often. So imagine if all of this was the other way around. Okay, here's your car. The oil light comes on. Quick, unscrew the bulb. That's the equivalent to your paracetamol thing. Do something to make the symptom go away. Your fuel gauge gets low. Oh well, there's no time to refuel, so just keep on going until you break down. Have you ever had that attitude towards your car? And it's time for the MOT. Yeah, I'll get around to it. Okay. There's black smoke billowing out of the exhaust. Oh well, it'll go away on its own. So that's the equivalent, of course, to your diarrhea, constipation, and flatulence. And then your car isn't running smoothly, it's slowing down, and you just say, oh well, it's an old car. What do you expect? Don't need to do anything about it, it's just getting old. Aww. The difference is, of course, if your body's getting old, you can't just go out and buy a new one. But hey, this from now on, now you are aware of this, everything's going to be the other way round. So when you get a headache, you investigate what's wrong. You drink more water. You don't have paracetamol until you find out what's causing the headache. Maybe you need to go for an eye test. Maybe it's eye strain. Okay, if your tummy rumbles, it's time to stop and have lunch. Your body is hungry. Your body is trying to tell you something. An annual health check. Already booked in. Imagine that if you regarded your annual health check in the same way as you regard your MOT test for your car. That would be fantastic. If you get diarrhea, alternating diarrhea and constipation or flatulence, get some nutritional advice. Maybe it's stress management, maybe you need exercise, maybe you ate something that you have a bit of an intolerance towards, maybe you've got leaky gut, which then would lead on to other problems with your immunity and other chronic health problems, or even autoimmune problems. Okay, so don't ignore things like that. If you're constipated or if you've got diarrhea, you can tell a lot about what's inside somebody's body circulating, as much by what comes out as what goes in. Okay, so we don't just look in functional medicine at what you're eating and your weekly diet or your daily diet plan. We need to know what's coming out the other end in order to understand what's staying in your body. And not to put too fine a point on it, you only have to see what ends up down the loo to know that you do not want to be carrying that around with you. Okay, it's just not a good idea. And then when you get aches and pains and you're slowing down, guess what? Get some professional advice before it gets worse. Because a lot of these aches and pains and stiffness in your joints are caused because there's a buildup of toxins in your body that's not being flushed out. Your body's elimination system is, to some degree, not just your digestive system, but it's the lymphatic system. Okay, that gets rid of all the kind of detritus from cellular activity and whatever else. But the difference between that and for example, the circulation of your blood is that it does not have its own pump. So unless you exercise and raise your heart rate to actually flush out all of your systems of your body, your lymphatic system will get a little bit stagnant, and a lot of things that you need to get rid of will just kind of stay where they are. Well, where are your lymph nodes? They tend to be around some of your joints. And so if you're starting to feel that you've got aches and pains and you're slowing down, it is highly likely that with an improved diet and more exercise, those aches and pains would go away. So let's treat our bodies as at least as well as we treat the car. Okay, so that's me. I'm Simone Buehner. This is 360 Health Consultancy, your partner from discovery of what's wrong with your health to recovery. And it is a journey, and it's not easy. It's simple because there are some simple things that you need to do, but it is not easy to make a lifestyle change. And just as you would have a gym instructor in the gym so that you can learn to exercise properly, or a financial advisor who can give you financial advice for your business or for your pensions or for your life insurance policy, what I am proposing to you is that you have me as a partner in your health care, so we can look together at where you are with your health right now and where you can be for optimum health. And so at 360 Health Consultancy, we offer a personalised healthcare solution. It'll be done through online consultations. I'll have home testing kits sent to you. There are blood testing kits available for advanced tests for anybody who's able to get to a phlebotomist. I can send those out and then analyse the results. But if you can't do that, then I will have a courier deliver a home testing kit to you, and then I will talk you through how to use it and arrange for the courier to collect it. You'll be given individual nutrition and lifestyle care plans, and there's accountability. So health accountability and lifestyle accountability, just as you would have a personal trainer who does your exercise accountability. It makes such a big difference to have those weekly phone calls saying, how disciplined have you been with your nutrition this week, or with your exercise, or with your meditations? Okay, it's like having a mentor to be your partner and to help you. And so my approach is, I regard it as being a daring approach to healthcare. It is different from the standard model of care in the UK at the moment through the NHS. And I say this is daring because we have the D for discovery. We'll do a discovery consultation to produce a timeline of your health. When did these things start? When did they get worse? What were the triggers? What were the antecedents? What came before all of this that may have led towards you getting this health problem? And so we have a consultation online. There is also a platform for you to use online where there will be a very detailed intake questionnaire there as well, so that I can piece together all of these bits of the jigsaw and come up with a health timeline for you. And then A is the analysis of your hormone and microbiome health. And as I said, that's with non-invasive home testing kits. So that could be saliva, stool analysis, urine, or a breath test. And then the R is a report on the findings. I will report back to you the results of my initial investigation, what has caused what and why is this happening to you, and what are the lab tests telling us, and what does it all mean for you. Okay, and we will put together a personalized nutrition plan, which is the I. We will initiate that plan, and it'll be about your nutrition, your exercise, your lifestyle. Now this will be gradual. This will take place over a period of months. It's not going to be anything that is too much for you to manage in one go, because lifestyle change doesn't happen overnight. For some people it can, but I think it's more important to change one thing at a time and to gradually introduce things. So for some people it could be that you eat fantastically well, but your lifestyle is such that you're spending too many hours at work. For others, you might not be getting enough exercise, but you're good at not working too long hours. And so this is why it's personalised healthcare. Okay, it's about what's manageable for you at this stage, and that's why we'll have weekly or fortnightly accountability calls to see what's working, what's not working, and tweak this so that you get the best possible results and feel optimally healthy by the end of our program and working together. The N is to naturally improve your well-being with meditation and mindfulness. The emphasis on doing things naturally is really important to me, because I think there's an awful lot we can do ourselves that isn't going to cost more, except a bit of application and maybe time, but I would say rejigging your time. Okay, what can we do naturally? And if at a later date it transpires that you need medication or surgery or whatever it may be, if your body is as healthy as it possibly can be, and your immune system and your gut are as healthy as they can be, then your outcomes for surgery or for any other interventions that need to happen from Western medicine, your outcomes are going to be so much better. Your recovery time will be shorter and more thorough. Okay, so let's get you as healthy as we can naturally. And then the G is a guided and accountable practice for a sustained recovery. Okay, we've got the D for discovery, and then the R will be your recovery period, which is about what you can do yourself. Now that we've raised your awareness of where you're up to and what needs to happen in your lifestyle, we need this to continue. And so you will be given a lot of information about what you can take forward with you. So this is my approach to healthcare, a daring approach to healthcare from 360 Health Consultancy. And I would like to be your partner from discovery to recovery. And here are my contact details if you would like to get in touch with me to either ask more questions or have a free 15-minute discovery call, or indeed to book an appointment. All appointments are booked via my website.